Very good morning, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 12th science biology and we are going to see the next topics of chapter number 10, that is microbes in human welfare, right? So we have already covered so many topics of this chapter. Amongst them, the sewage treatment is one of the important question, and in the next upcoming topics, right, we are going to see about the how the biogas is produced with the help of the microbes. So today's topic is about the microbes and production of the biogas. So microbes produce many gases during their metabolism, right? So whenever the metabolism is taking place, right, the microbes, they produce so many gases, right? So when they are carrying out the metabolism, that is the breakdown of the complex molecules as well as the synthesis of complex molecules, whatever is taking place in their metabolism, right, they produce several different gases. The type of gas produced depends upon the substrate they grow on and the type of microbe. So two things is very important. So the type of gas which is produced upon carrying out the metabolism, right, what happens, two things is responsible. First is upon what substrate they have been dependent, and second is what type of a microbe it is, right? So the type of microbe as well as the type of substrate, these two things are very important, and based upon these two things a different or like different types of gases are produced. Anaerobic bacteria usually produce methane along with CO2 and H2, right? Such bacteria are called methanogens, and the example of it is methanobacterium, right? So anaerobic bacteria, anaerobic means the bacteria which cannot resist or which are not present in the presence of the oxygen, right? That means without the oxygen the bacteria can survive and they can perform their microbial activity, right? So anaerobic bacteria, they which work in the absence of oxygen, they produce methane gas, and along with the methane gas they also produce two other gases. The first is the carbon dioxide and second is the hydrogen. So those anaerobic bacteria which produces methane, CO2 as well as H2, then this type of microbes are said to be methanogens, right? And the example of this type of bacteria is the methanobacterium. Methanogens are commonly found in anaerobic sludge, as in sewage treatment, and in the rumen of cattle. In the rumen of cattle, this bacteria help in cellulose digestion. So here what happens, this methanogens, they are responsible or they are useful, or normally they are found in anaerobic sludge. That means whatever sludge which was formed in the secondary treatment of the sewage, right, in that region or in that particular stage the methanogens are found. So along with this, they are also found in the rumen of cattle, that is the gut of the cattle, right? And the gut of the cattle, they consist of methanogens, and for this reason with the help of this methanogens, the cellulose digestion, as the particular herbivores, they eat grass, and this grass is having, they are none other but plant cell, and the plant cell consists of the cellulose, right? So for the digestion of the cellulose, it is very important that the cattle's gut should have methanogens, right? So they are also present. So the main two places where the methanogens are found is first in the anaerobic sludge, in the sewage treatment, and second is in the rumen of cattle. Next is hence the excreta of cattle, that is usually known as gobar. They are rich in methanogens, and the biogas is also called as gobar gas. So this you have already studied in standard 10th also, right? That whatever excreta, right, whatever the fecal waste is in carried out by the cattle, right, it is known as gobar, and they are rich in methanogens, right? And this methanogens, they are helpful in the production of the biogas. For this reason they are said to be, biogas is also known as gobar gas. Now the plant, see here, I have shown the plant of the biogas, that what are the exactly components of the biogas plant. So first is the concrete tank, right? The concrete tank is what? where the slurry of dung is fed. That means whatever dung is being collected, this all the dung is being like poured, or it is being carried collected into a tank which is known as concrete tank, right? And it is a 10 to 15 feet deep tank, right? So it is inside the like underground, and it is 10 to 15 deep tank, and in this tank all the slurry of the dung is being poured. Now there is presence of a floating cover, and this floating cover, it is placed on the slurry. So now whatever slurry of the dung is being poured in on into the concrete tank, upon this slurry there will be presence of a floating cover which keeps on rising, right? This cover keeps on rising as the gas is produced, right? So when whatever methanogens which are present inside that particular dung, they do the microbial activity, and upon carrying out the microbial activity, the gas is produced, and the amount of gas which is produced, the particular floating cover, it rises up, right? There is also presence of an outlet, and this outlet, it is connected to the pipe which is going to supply the biogas to the nearby houses, right? This pipe supplies the like biogas to the nearby houses as well as some other places also. And this outlet, and one outlet is for spent, like the whatever slurry is spent, right? So the spent slurry can be used as a fertilizer. So there is one another outlet also from which the slurry is being taken out, and this slurry can be used for the fertilizers, right? So the biogas plant is usually set up in rural areas since cow dung is available in abundance there. So as you know that you are not going to find, or you are not going to see the cows or the different animals which are kept in the city areas, right? That is the urban areas. You mostly are going to find this type of animals, right, in the villages. So mostly this biogas plants are set up in those rural areas where the cow dung is easily available, right? Next is, this biogas is used for two things. First is the cooking, and second is the lighting, right? So these are the two useful ways that through which we can use the biogas. And this technology is India, like it is due to the efforts of two institutions, right? First is the IARI, and second is KVCI. The full form of IARI is Indian Agricultural Research Institute, and second is KVCI, that is Khadi and Village Industry Commission. So these are the two main institutions which played very important role in the biogas technology, right? So this is about the biogas plant and what are the microbes and how the microbes are helpful in the production of the biogas. Now we are going to see the next topic, and that is the microbes which are useful for the, like they are said to be the biocontrol agents as well as biofertilizers. So first we will see that microbes as biocontrol agents, right? Bio, that means living, control, that means to control something, and agents means those type of living agents which are going to control the microbes, right? So here the chemical insecticides and pesticides are harmful as they kill the useful and harmful life forms indiscriminately, right? As well as they are toxic to human beings as well as in the long run, right? So here chemical insecticides and pesticides. Before going to the topics, right? First is insecticides means the like they are using several uh, insecticides which are made up of chemicals, and these chemicals they kill the insects, and pesticides they control the pest, right? So here the chemical insecticides and pesticides, these two of them are comparatively harmful, right? First reason is that they kill the useful and harmful life forms, right? So the life forms which are needed to be present, or which are needed in the, let's take an example of the farm, right? So if the earthworm is being killed, then the normal fertility of the soil decreases, right? Because the presence of earthworm, they are said to be the friends of farmers, right? So if the earthworms are only killed by this type of chemicals, then what it is harming the required life forms, right? Second reason is they are toxic to human beings also, right? The example of it can be given as the DDT, right? The DDT spread, or the DDT, it decreases the fertility of the soil, and wherever it has been spreaded, or wherever it has been sprinkled, right, that particular soil, up till so many years it can resist over there, and it continuously decreases the fertility, right? So this can be toxic to human beings also. Third reason is, if all insects of a particular species are killed, then the natural predator prey relationship and food chains will get distorted. So here what happens, if a particular species of insects is being killed, right, so that particular insects is further not going to be resist in the environment, and if it is not resisting in the environment, then the food chains as well as the predator prey relationship gets unbalanced, right? So the balancing of this food chain as well as the predator prey relationship, right, this particular insecticides and pesticides should not be used. Hence, biological means to eradicate pests can be used. This requires knowledge of the life forms, that is predator as well as the prey, that inhabit a particular area, their life cycles, and the patterns of feeding and preferred habitats, right? So here, rather than using such insecticides or pesticides, they should use any biological ways to control this pest, right? That is, they should also take care of the different life forms, right? Different food chains also they should take care, as well as the whatever the life forms are living in that particular area, right? They have, what is their life cycles and how they are been feeding on each other, and what are their preferable habits. This all things should be kept in mind, and they should take out some biological ways to control this type of pest, right? The example of this is given over here is ladybirds and dragonflies are used to get rid of aphids and mosquitoes, right? So aphids and mosquitoes, this two of them, right? They were initially, this ladybirds and dragonflies, they are used to now that they get rid of the aphids as well as the mosquitoes. Next is the microbes can also act in the same manner, right? Just like this insects as well as some pests, right, the microbes can also act in the same manner. Here we are going to see the example is of the bacillus thuringiensis, that is simply said to be the bt cotton. So this bacillus thuringiensis is used to control the butterfly caterpillars. Now this um, Bacillus thuringiensis we have already seen in the chapter number 12, and if you wish to check that video, you can check my YouTube channel for it. I have made the playlist of chapter 12. You open it and just check my Bacillus thuringiensis video, right? So the Betty Cotton says that it kills a butterfly caterpillars, right? That it produces a toxin. So when an insect is infecting that cotton, what they does is, whenever they eat it, it goes inside the gut of the insect, and in the gut of the insect, it gets activated, and upon activation, it produces the toxin. And when the toxins are produced, the particular insect is being killed. So this way the microbes can be used as to control the particular insects, right? So this bacterium is available in sachets as dry spores, which are sprayed on the crops. So this bt cotton, that is a bacillus thuringiensis, this bacteria is being available in the markets also as dried spores, and these dried spores are sprinkled or sprayed on the crops, and the spores get into the gut of the larva and kill it, while the other insects remain unperturbed, right? So here what happens, when the spraying of the spores occurs on the crops, when the insects eat those spores, the spores get into the gut of the larva, as well as what happens, the toxins are produced and it kills the insects, right? So with the use of the biological, or we can say the living forms, the insects as well as the pests are controlled, right? So rather than using the insecticides or pesticides which are harmful in nature, the uh, the microbes can be used as a controller, right? Now, by methods of genetic engineering, the genes of Bacillus thuringiensis is responsible for killing the larva have been incorporated into the plant. So with the use of genetic engineering also, there are several genes which are been in like there are several genes which are been isolated or taken from the Bacillus thuringiensis, and they are responsible and they are being added inside the insects, and this said that the insects are being killed, and this way the plants can be saved. Now the cotton plant with Bt gene is incorporated is called Bt cotton. So a cotton plant which is containing a Bt gene, that plant is said to be the Bt cotton, right? So in the Bt cotton, this Bt does not stands for the biotechnology, but it stands for the Bacillus thuringiensis, right? That means this cotton plant is been having or is been containing a gene which is derived from the Bacillus thuringiensis, right? There is also an example of a fungus which is observed. So the fungus Trichoderma, which is living in the roots of plants, they act as a biocontrol agent against several plant pathogens. So there are also several plant pathogens also. The most well-known pathogen is TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus, right? So same way, there are so many bacteria also which infect the plants, as well as there are some like fungi. There are some other viruses also which infect the plants. So here, this fungus, that is Trichoderma, they are residing in the roots of the living plants, right? And they act as the biocontrol agents. That means they does not allow the growth of several pathogens, and they does not allow to enter inside the plant. So with the help of this Trichoderma, the pathogens are not being entered inside the plant body, right? Also, baculoviruses, particularly genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus, they are also used as narrow spectrum insecticidal agents, right? So here this type of viruses and this baculoviruses are the like they are the species which are found in the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus, right? So these are useful in the controlling of the insecticidal agents, right? That means they are useful for the, controlling, right, the narrow spectrum insecticidal agents. And the last point in this, that is biocontrol agents are particularly useful when when the insects are required to be conserved under IPM, that is integrated pest management programs. So here, this biocontrol agents, they are normally useful when the like sometimes some insects are required to be conserved, right? So in order to understand the habitat, in order to understand the anatomy and all the different things of that particular insects which is normally infecting the plants, right, or the crops, they should be conserved under IPM, that is integrated pest management programs. So in accordance with this IPM, they go for some biocontrol agents and the crops are being conserved, right? So this is about the uh, all the like microbial control agents, right? So the last topic of this chapter is the microbes as biofertilizers, right? So we have seen in on the previous one, we have seen that how the biocontrol agents are being used. So the first one was about the as the biocontrol agents, that is how the microbes are being used as biocontrol agents, and now we are going to see that how the microbes are used as the biofertilizers, right? So in the for biofertilizers, the chemical fertilizers contribute to the pollution. Now, as you know that if you are going to use the fertilizers which are made up of chemicals, then they lead to the pollution. And you know that the pollution is very harmful for the human life. It is also leading to the global warming, which leads to the death of the organisms, right? As well as the extinction of several species, or we can say several organisms, right? These biofertilizers are organisms that enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. So rather than using this chemical fertilizers, the biofertilizers should be used, and this biofertilizers, they are rich in organisms which increases the nutrient quality of the soil. So when the biofertilizers are being is been given or is been sprayed on the particular soil, then what happens? It increases the quality of the soil. Simply we can say that it increases the fertility of the soil. So many bacteria, fungi, as well as cyanobacteria, they act as biofertilizers. So in the biofertilizers, several bacteria plays important role, as well as some fungi also plays an important role. And along with the bacteria and fungi, we have seen cyanobacteria, right? This cyanobacteria also act as a biofertilizers. Now they act as biofertilizer by living in symbiotic associations with root nodules of leguminous plants such as ribosodium, right? So this is the most important example of the biofertilizers, that is rhizobium, because this rhizobium is responsible. Normally this rhizobium bacteria, they are present in the root nodules of the leguminous plants, and uh, they are acting as, or they are under, like they are undergoing the symbiotic relationship with the soil. That is, the whatever biofertilizers are being given, that is this rhizobium, they act as biofertilizer because it does possess the symbiotic association, that is the mutualism, right? That is two or both of them are like beneficial, right? So this way they act as the biofertilizers. And this bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen and enrich the nitrogen content of the soil. Now you normally know that the roots need nitrogen in a proper amount, right? So this rhizobium bacteria, they uptake the atmospheric nitrogen and fix it, and it increases the nitrogen content of the soil. So normally whatever amount of nitrogen is present in the soil, along with that it takes up the nitrogen from the atmosphere and it fixes it in the soil, and this way the nitrogen content inside the soil increases, and this way the roots are easily going to get the good amount of nitrogen. And next is the fungi also form symbiotic association with plants. The most important example of it is mycorrhiza, that is the fungal association between the algae and the fungi, right? And this fungal or the symbiotic association of the fungi is known as glomus, right? And they absorb phosphorus and pass it to the plants. Again, phosphorus, some minerals are very important for the plants. One of them is phosphorus also. So what this glomus do is, this glomus absorbs the phosphorus and it is been produced to the plants. So this is about the fungi, that with the help of the mycorrhiza, that is glomus, they absorb the phosphorus and it is been provided to the plants. And the last point is that the cyanobacteria such as nostoc, anabena, etc., they also fix atmospheric nitrogen and act as biofertilizers, especially in paddy fields, right? So here the cyanobacteria, right? We saw about the three things, right? That is bacteria, fungi, and this third one, that is cyanobacteria. These are also responsible for fixing the nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, and they act as the biofertilizers, right? So this way also, rather than using the chemical fertilizers, people should use biofertilizers, right? So with the help of the biofertilizers, it does not harm the soil, but in accordance with that, it increases the quality as well as the fertility of the soil. So this is all about the last topic of this chapter, and here we complete this chapter. I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.